Welcome to this week's Monday Minutes. My name is Kelly.
And my name is Jessie. And this week we are wrapping up our month of circulation and fine rules.
Woohoo!
We hope you all enjoyed it. We certainly have.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to talk about that final place in Koha where we mentioned the circulation and fine rules that talk specifically about hold policy. So we're going to come into those circ and fine rules and scroll all the way down to the bottom. So in the past few weeks, we talked about the circ rules matrix, if you're a multi-branch system, and then some of those default policy rules that you can make. Today, we're going to focus on holds. So Kelly, just give us a brief overview of what we're going to be able to define here in the default holds policy by item type.
Well, first, Jessie, we need to say that this is driven by a system preference. So that is something that you need to note is the system preference is called reserve control branch. And this is asking, what circ matrix page would you like us to follow when we're looking at holds and what is allowed for holds? So Jessie's going to pull up that system preference. So we have two options. Am I going to go to the items home library circ page, or I'm going to go to the patrons home library circ page? For a single branch, this is not important at all because you're probably just going to use that standard set of rules. But for those libraries that have multi-branch, this is important. I love the fact that Koha tells you what it's set at. So it is telling me that our system preference is set up to be the patrons library. So if a patron was from the East branch, then we would follow those default hold policies by item type page to see what was allowed and what was not allowed.
And you'll notice if we click on that, it takes us right to that system preference as well. So you can double check to make sure yours is set right. All right, Kelly, so why don't we walk through adding one into the system? So right now we have one for audiobook, book, and new book. So why don't we do DVD? DVD is actually one that we almost routinely see in this section because a lot of times people say they'd like their hold policy for their patrons to be from their home library. So their patrons get those DVDs first. So the first drop down that we have is a hold policy where we can say any library, meaning anyone can place a hold on this item. The next one we'll say is local hold group. Now we saw this last week when we were talking about some of those default values. If you use the library groups feature, this allows you to define a group of local libraries. So if you are in a multi-branch system and there's a group of you that maybe you have 3 branch locations, you can define it to just those 3. The next one you'll see here is from the home library. So in this case, that's what we're going to say. We want DVDs to go from the home library. The last one is no holds allowed. Now, again, this is a fantastic one for things like museum passes I've seen, state park passes. Kelly, what are some other ones that you've seen for this?
Like just laptops, things that are in-house use, reference, potentially reserves.
The next column we're going to talk about is the hold pickup library match. So again, this is where you are defining where things can be picked up for this particular item type. So any library would give them the opportunity to have it, move throughout those locations, and then we can define it by the items hold group. Again, if you're using those library hold groups, the patrons hold group, and then again, just items home or holding library. The last thing you'll see here is return policy. Now, this is a nice player here. So again, for multi-branch systems, a lot of the questions we get here are about the floating. So if I'm a patron, I go to pick up my DVD from, let's say, the East branch. If this is set to items floats, and I return this maybe to the West branch because it's closer to my parents' house and I went for a visit and I drop it off on the way back, that item will stay at the West branch until it's either checked out by somebody else or placed on hold. Now, Kelly, talk to us about what this item returns means.
So the other two options are the item needs to return to its home branch, or the item needs to return to the library that checked it out. That's the issuing library. So you have quite a bit of versatility with holds policy by these item types. It's really important to note that this does not have to do with patron categories. So this is truly an item type driven choice here.
Mhm. Perfect. Okay, well, we hope that you enjoyed this last month of circulation and fine rules. As always, we're open to suggestions. So if there's something that you want to see on Monday Minutes, please let us know.
Yeah, and thank you so much. This has been a great 4 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
Have a great day.
Have a great day. See you next week.